Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at Reeves Tampa, of course, in Tampa, Florida, and look what we have. I almost don't believe it. This is a 2019 Corvette ZR1. But before we dive into this muscle-enhanced precision performance tuned machine from Chevrolet, let's talk about what's going on here. America's true sports car, which I believe is the true sports car, is the Chevrolet Corvette. It's been around since 1953, if you could believe that. If you've ever wondered why do they call this car a ZR1? Why ZR? Does that stand for Zebra Racer or Zonk Race? No, it actually goes back to the man that I consider to be the true father of the Corvette, Zora Arkus Duntov. ZR stands for Zora's Racer. And the ZR1 insignia has been around since 1970 when he created a special trim that you would check off on that option sheet, that ZR1, and that would give you a pure road racing Corvette. Now remember, 1970, we're talking about the third generation of the Corvette, the C3, which went from 68 all the way to 82. Now, ZR1 only lasted a couple years, and it was a very small production. We're talking about just a handful. In 1990 is when the ZR1 made its return, and made it in a very unique, different way, because this was going to be a true production ZR1. But what separated it from all the Corvettes of the past was the engine underneath that hood. No longer was it using a pushrod V8. This one had overhead cams. And it was actually a joint venture between Chevrolet, Lotus, and even Mercury Marine and Mercruiser that makes boat engines. A lot of people love the performance, but there was just something that was a little different that kind of separated not only from a sound standpoint, but also the way the vehicle drove. Now, the ZR1 eventually met its demise in 1995, but guess what? The story, it really is just the beginning there. It came back for C6, the sixth generation, and that was where we saw a supercharged track weapon. It was given the code name the Blue Devil, and they produced it for a couple years, but boy oh boy, when they brought it back for the seventh generation, which remember, C7 goes from 2014 all the way to 2019, this being the last year of that front engine Corvette, you're gonna get 755 supercharged horsepower. You're gonna get a special track tuned suspension, and what's amazing is around Virginia International Raceway, this ZR1 Corvette is faster each and every lap than a Ford GT. And I'm not talking about the Ford GT, the first generation, that 0506. We're talking about the Ford GT currently still available for over $500,000. So let's go ahead, let's dive into the ZR1 Corvette and really discover, is it the ultimate of all Corvettes, including the all-new C8 mid-engine Corvette? Let's go ahead and dive in. Right off the bat, what I love what they've done with the ZR1 is they gave it its own unique front look. When you go back to the C4, that 1990 to 95 ZR1, they almost looked like standard Corvettes, and I think that was part of the problem for a lot of people. Now, if you were an expert, you could tell the difference, but on this ZR1, it's right smack dab in your face. So C7, you could see the headlight design. I always love what they created with this overall shape when it first came out in 2014. But if you notice on the front fascia, this is all unique to the ZR1. So we're gonna have this extension that comes out, massive air intake. So this vehicle obviously has a bunch of coolers to keep all those temps in check. You can see how it's all open air for flowing towards the coolers, but also for brake ducting. And then of course, as we come across the center section, you can see that massive carbon fiber front splitter, which is gonna give us downforce and stop air from getting underneath the vehicle, but also scooping air like a big, huge snow plow into all of these cooler openings. But you can see full functional venting, really shows that aggressive, even the way they brought the front fascia out, it's almost like two front splitters, not just one. Of course, when we go up onto the nose, you're gonna get that iconic logo, the cross flags. Go back, look on Google all the way to 1953. You had some type of rendition of that setup, but you have your checkered flag and the Chevrolet bow tie flag. I love all the historical touches, and that is one of the things that with the C8 kind of, broke my heart a little bit, is that it's a mid-engine Corvette. This one though, Corvette has the engine still up front. And when we go up onto that reverse opening clamshell hood, you can see that we have a unique hood. it actually is wide open in the center section. This portion here, which is all carbon fiber, is bolted directly to the engine itself. So in a way, you got a little bit of a shaker hood operation going on here because of this actually being connected to the engine. Here we're going to be dragging that air, comes in from the front, it's going to come out up top, all for aerodynamic efficiency and trying to get some of that hot air out, but you can see full carbon fiber. And you'll notice when we go to open up the hood to show the engine how this is just a big wide open hole. Now, one thing that's really amazing, the reason why they had to do that is just the sheer height of the size of the supercharger. And you'll see that when we go for a drive, you can see a lot of hood in front of you as you're going down the road. Now, as we come around the bend, of course, we're gonna have a special wheel and tire setup. So these wheels are specific to the ZR1 Corvette. I love the split spoke design. You got your carbon fiber Corvette logo with the cross flags. Look at the size of these calipers. The size of Ronald McDonald's head. Those are 6-piston Brembo calipers with the Corvette script, and we have carbon ceramic rotors. They are 15.5 inches in diameter, so they're bigger than the pizza that you ate last night. Yeah, you know what pizza you ate with that extra pepperoni. Hopefully you didn't put any sardines on it, but two-piece is gonna cut down on the heat. It's also gonna cut down on our rotating mass, and these carbon ceramic rotors, they were developed by Formula One first, so you know that they're gonna give you the ultimate in stopping capability. Of course, all four corners, you're gonna get specifically tuned suspension for the ZR1. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, when it comes to this setup, what are we running up front? So this is a 19-inch wheel up front, 285 on the width, 30 series sidewall. You can see that beautiful metallic smoke color going on with the wheel. Looks great. And this ZR1 is really meant for Batman. I mean, it is a sinister looking machine. Now, I'm gonna kind of do the hood and the fender together. So we're gonna kind of raise up. You can see where they put the beautiful ZR1 badge. And if you notice the blue, that goes back to the 6th generation when they called it the Blue Devil. And then as we kind of swing around, you can see another iconic touch on a Corvette, that side vent there. That is something that no matter what generation you go into, you'll have that side vent, full carbon fiber. It's gonna drag that hot air from underneath the hood and for aerodynamic efficiency, and it is massive. It is unique to the ZR1, does not even look close to a Z06 or a Grand Sport. And then of course you're gonna have that massive side sill extension that flows all the way to the back. Now remember, if you ever wonder why is this part kind of tapered in, believe it or not, it's so when you get in and out of the vehicle, your shoes do not hit this beautiful carbon fiber. But this is gonna help channel that air down the side of the vehicle. No door handles, they have the buttons hidden in this little notch area. We keep working our way back. Carbon fiber roof, of course, and I love the exposed carbon fiber on the engine, on the hood, on the roof. Even as we work our way back to the side vents here, you can see the carbon fiber. And people have always wondered, is this for brake cooling? No, this is actually for cooling the differential and also the transmission, because remember, this has a transaxle. The transmission is back here, engine is up there. That's to try to get that near perfect 50-50 weight distribution. But I love all the exposed carbon fiber. You can see how, just like on any other Corvette, how it flares out. And when we look at the rear, you're gonna get even wider tires. So this is actually a 20-inch wheel, so it's 1 inch bigger in diameter. It's got the ZR1 logo stamped on there, as if Zora Arcus Duntov did it himself. You have that carbon ceramic brake rotor, 2-piece rotor, massive calipers, even on the back. Gonna really just stop this Corvette on a dime and give everybody at the racetrack change, especially those Ford GTs. But you're looking at a 335 on the width. So think about steamroller and then put a tire around that steamroller part, and that's what you're gonna have for your rear tires to get that grip to the ground. And then as we work our way out the back, you're gonna get a beautiful exposed carbon fiber rear wing. My only zonk is that it's not adjustable. I wish that this was actually adjustable where you could give it more or less downforce. You can see we're running the same taillights as if this was a C7 Z06, that cleared out look, but all of this is fully functional. And then the one thing that I miss that's not on the C8 besides the engine being up front is the exhaust. I love this trumpet outlet, 4 of them all together with that massive rear diffuser is gonna allow this thing to stick to the ground. And even the ZR1 badge, just a nice little taste back there that if you don't know what you're looking at, When you see that, you better watch out, because this thing, like I said, 755 horsepower. Speaking of horsepower, let's pop that hood and check out the heart of this beast. All right, guys, time to get underneath this carbon fiber hood. So you can't do this on a C8 Corvette. This is the last generation, that reverse clamshell opening. You can see the beautiful exposed carbon fiber, and like I told you, that massive opening that is there in place so that the hood can close and it's not gonna block your vision. But underneath that carbon fiber hood, you're gonna have a 6.2 liter, remember, this is a pushrod V8. The only overhead cam engine was the ZR1 from 1990 to 1995. This one, good old-fashioned pushrod V8, 376 cubic inches if you're thinking about no replacement for displacement. But what the replacement for displacement is on this LT5 engine is an Eaton TVS R2650 supercharger, producing 14 pounds of boost. That means we have 755 horsepower, 715 pound-feet of torque. It can be mated to a 7-speed manual or an 8-speed automatic. 0 to 60 is gonna go by in about 2.9 seconds. Quarter mile is gonna scream by at 10.8 at 135 miles an hour. This Corvette has a top speed of 212 miles an hour. MPGs, if you're worried about that, I'm gonna send you over to a Toyota dealership to get a Prius. But MPGs, 12 in the city, 20 on the highway, and the car weighs 3,671 pounds. So think about it. This car doing 212 miles an hour, that's more than a football field, 100 yards every single second. Because when you're doing 200, you're traveling 100 yards every second. This does 212. But why don't we go ahead, we saw what's underneath the clamshell hood. Let's fire it up and hear the sound of this V8 beast. All right, guys, we're inside the final year of the C7, and not just any C7 Corvette, a ZR1. I know you're at that point where you're like, Joe, how much is this? Well, brand new MSRP was around $135,000. Reeves has not priced it yet. They literally just took it in on a trade, but stay tuned because they will be posting that on their website. Let's see what you get for your money, though, when this was brand new. To the door panels, love the red contrast stitching. On the C7, Chevrolet did a great job with the interior. A little bit of silver trim. The door pocket is super small, so maybe 2 Twinkies or a king-size Snickers, that's about it. Now, when you come to the dash, your passenger is gonna have their own ventilated and heated seat button, and also AC controls, which is nice. Soft material, the stitching is really great, and I love the way they give them a supersized oh crap handle for the ZR1 Corvette, because they're gonna be using this a lot, I promise you. Now on the ZR1, you're gonna get carbon fiber all the way around all the instrumentation. You have your 8-inch infotainment system screen. One thing that I love on these C7s that you don't get in a C8 is that secret cubby. So you press the James Bond button, which I call it. You have a nice felt line cubby in here. You could put the Pink Panther diamond in here. It's not gonna get scratched, and you have a USB. And then of course you could close it up and you use an access code to get into it. You're gonna have your navigation, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, which is a great feature as well. Your start stop button, bright silver. You have your dual climate control. Your dual climate over there is for your passenger. This is for you over here. I like the nice rubber grip. As you're doing 212 miles an hour, you can adjust the temperature because I'm sure you're gonna be sweating bullets. Ventilated seats and heated seats for you. The ZR1 badge is looking sexy. And then this one is optioned with the 8-speed automatic. You can get a 7-speed manual or this 8-speed automatic. I like the Corvette insignia on top and the 8-speed logo. Really clean. The graphics, the red stitching brought all the way through. A little bit of brushed aluminum. You're gonna have your mode selector button. I'll show you that when you come over the business end. You do have 2 cup holders, which is great. Semi-soft to almost hard on the armrest, but I do like the stitching, and it only opens for me, not for you. 2 USBs, a 12-volt Do not put a Twinkie in here. You're gonna squirt cream all over the place in here, and you're not gonna want that in your ZR1. Seats, ZR1 specific with the Corvette cross flags, the red stitching, nice bolstering, nothing too crazy. I actually would like the competition seats in this one to give a little bit more bolstering up top. I got plenty of headroom, and they do a great job with the headliner, this nice Alcantara diamond stitch headliner. And then of course, yes, even on the ZR1, you can take the roof off. So this is a Targa roof. You got all that room back there for the fast grocery runs that you need to make. But you know what the biggest point is? I know what you want to see. You want to come over here to the business side of things. I want to show you behind this carbon fiber flat bottom steering wheel on our ZR1 Corvette. Come on over. All right, guys, business time. I do love the absolutely beautiful Corvette sill plate here. You can see how they notched out that side sill so you don't kick it every time you get in and out. But this just lets you know that, hey, you went big, you got a Corvette, plus you got a ZR1 on top of that. You can see how the seat snuggles you pretty good. I just wish there was a little bit more bolstering, so I am gonna zonk the bottom portion of the seat. One thing I'm not gonna zonk is this steering wheel. Flat bottom, carbon fiber, both at the bottom and the top. You got your ZR1 badging there, and then because we have the 8-speed automatic, you could go up and down that 8-speed with these red plastic paddles on the back of the wheel. I'm gonna zonk them though. I wish that they were made out of metal. That would have been the nicer touch. You do have the carbon fiber that comes all the way across your head-up display, which you can adjust, which is a nice touch. And then the dash, straightforward and to the point. Love that massive digital area there in the center. And then you could go through your different drive modes. Sport opens up our active exhaust. You can go into track. Really clean, really nice setup. The one thing I always want to zonk on these is just the redundancy of having an analog speedometer. If I have a digital speedometer and a head-up display, why do we need an analog speedometer on top of that? But you do have an analog fuel gauge and of course boost gauge because we have that supercharger. But speaking of supercharger, if you're ready, I'm definitely ready. We're not doing the back storage area because I could care less right now. Let's get out on the open road and see what the ZR1 Corvette will do. All right, guys, we're in the 2019 ZR1 Corvette. I'm gonna go ahead and put it into sport mode. It's gonna open up that exhaust. You can see that raised area, that hood, all that carbon fiber. Very, very special moment. Even the rear wing, and the crazy thing is there's even a larger rear wing for the back. Even the rear wing, you can see it right in your line of sight, but I don't give a damn because I'm in a ZR1 Corvette. You do have electric tilting and telescoping steering wheel as well. And this car only has 3,475 miles. Somebody really did not get to fully enjoy the ZR1 very much when it comes to mileage, but seats feel good. The top bolstering is going to be the more intense out of the two. The head-up display shows all the important information that you could want or need, plus it's adjustable. I'm ready for some on-throttle fun in this ZR1 Corvette for sure. All right, guys, we're gonna get on to the highway first. Stretch the legs of this ZR1. On throttle, here we go. Wow! Oh my God! Wow! The sound, the sensation. I'm in a ZR1 Corvette. I never thought in a million years I'd ever be able to get behind the wheel of this ZR1, and here I am. Very, very special feeling. Steering feels good. That magnetic ride suspension is doing its job so nicely over all the expansion joints. Wow. What an amazing experience that I get to share with you. That's what makes it even more special. Brake pedal, strong as can be. Remember, you have those carbon ceramic brake rotors, which take a few seconds for them to build heat, but boy, when they have heat into them, they bite nice and hard, really shed that speed down, especially in a cruise missile like this that'll do 212 miles per hour. All right, guys, getting back out onto the highway here. Just to stretch our legs once again. On throttle! Wow! Boy, oh boy, it puts you back in the seat very hard. The sound, such a distinct sound, and that's something when comparing this to the C8, I miss in the C8 is just the raw sound. And I'm not even talking about like the supercharger sound or anything like that. It's the exhaust sounds so much more menacing in a C7 Corvette, especially the ZR1. The one thing I am gonna Zonta, I'm a little disappointed. Where's my supercharger whine? No supercharger whine really, which is crazy. Let me get in the left lane here. Hard throttle. God. Oh my God. Whoa, 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 whoa. It's like you look at the speedometer and it's like you're at Las Vegas playing the slots, because that's how fast the digits are just speeding by. Going down the concrete expansion joints, very, very smooth, and that's what I love about the work that Chevrolet does with their suspension. It's just spot on the money, very good feel from the steering, and just seeing that raised section of the hood is just massive. You want a bulge? This has the bulge, plus some. Bulge infinity. A lot of roar noise, but you know what? This is a performance car. You're not going to be getting a bunch of sound deadening and thick glass, but still very comfortable. I mean, the crazy thing is you can daily drive this ZR1 Corvette. That's the crazy thing in all this, is that 755 horsepower has never been easier to drive than it is in this car, which is incredible. It just shows the engineering that's been put in this car. I think the incredible thing is too, when you're at speed, you could really feel the aero working in your favor. That just keeps you super planted and allows you to stay focused and feel confident in what's going on. Of course, you have those steamrollers both at the front and at the rear, giving you tons of grip, and you're really gonna stick big time in the ZR1 Corvette for sure. Hard throttle! Ah! Wow, jeez. The way the 8-speed automatic shifts, this is not a DCT like in the new C8. The 8-speed really shows how proficient it is. The shifts are very positive, very purposeful, very smooth, especially on the downshifts too. You can feel how it downshifts and just tries to keep the chassis nice and stable, which is important. Like I was saying, driving it down this regular 4-lane road, doing your errands, you could do that in a ZR1 Corvette. Now what I did was I took the shift lever, and I put it on M, which now puts me in manual shift mode, so I could use those bright red plastic paddles on the back of the steering wheel to go up and down the 8-speed automatic. Of course, you have a gear indicator both in the head-up display and on the dash. Nice, smooth. You get the burbles and the pops coming from the exhaust, as you would expect in this car. Man. Are you ready? On throttle! Golly! Oh my God! In this turn, it just leaps. It just leaps from corner to corner. Oh my God. The steering is so direct. It's just so direct. You think you're already turning. I just want to feel the grip level. I want to feel the grip level, and really the only way to do that is to take this to a racetrack. That would be something that we need to work out and get done, because you just can't really fully explain just how good this car really is unless you're on a racetrack. Really. All right, guys, one more time. Here we go. Second gear, on throttle. Unbelievable. This thing is ridiculous. Oh my God. Just a crazy, crazy experience. And like I said, this is just scratching the surface. This car, hands down, is the Corvette, the most ultimate Corvette, period, up to this point. And I know, like I said, there's gonna be other iterations, but the sound, that V8, that low slung Batman, like you're sitting on the freaking axle, I just love that. I just love that feeling, love that sensation. I can't wait for the Z8 Z06 because I would love to run this up against it on a track, not just straight line, because it does have 212 miles per hour. What time is it? Man, I need to bring this back. We need to get back to Reeves, Tampa, Reeves Subaru. I know LD wants his ZR1 back. I want to take it home, to be honest with you. I would need a manual. I would need a 7-speed manual, but wow. I'm just so glad to be able to share with you. I'll see you in a few seconds. All right, guys. That was one amazing experience. I definitely got to thank LD and the rest of the Reeves family, from Porsche to Subaru to Audi to Land Rover to BMW. Really great organization. When it comes to this vehicle, this is truly the ultimate Corvette. Made for that special enthusiast that wants that track performance that's second to none. The supercharger sound, the way that it just puts you back in the seat, and all that grip. I could only imagine what it would be like to take this around a few laps of Sebring or Virginia International Raceway with a Ford GT well behind me in the rearview mirror. But yes, the C8 Corvette is here. Yes, there's going to be faster iterations of it as we go through time, but there's just something undeniably seductive and sexy about this ZR1 Corvette for the 7th generation, the final year of the front engine Corvette. But if you want to keep seeing ultimate sports cars, and this really is a supercar killer on Rady's Rise, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Rady's Rise family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you in the channel, click the link in the description. Get yourself some Rady's Rise merch. Got to give it up to the queen of the camera. And boy, oh boy, she is loving every curve of this ZR1 Corvette. Show Lori some love in the comment section because she is busting her butt out here and getting the job done and doing it right. So thank you, Lori, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.